The Hunger Games, it sweeps the box office for the third week in a row. Can anything stop it? Can any movie stop it? Michelle Kung, she's here right now with our Monday box office report. Hey, Michelle.
Hey, how are you?
The Hunger Games, well, I'm not as well as the producers of The Hunger Games because they're doing great. I think this movie has now grossed, what, over $300 million domestically in just 3 weeks?
Yes, and that's like a tremendous amount of money. I mean, that's more than any of the Twilight movies made on their own.
How unusual is it for a movie to be #1 for 3 weeks in a row, Michelle, just from your sort of anecdotal following of this?
It's not that common, to be honest, because right now movies are kind of built so that they have huge openings, like they're on their first weekends, and then another film takes over. But because this has been such a cultural phenomenon, and there haven't been like really strong, offerings, new offerings, it's been able to dominate.
And is this mostly due to some of the crossover potential of this movie? I mean, again, unlike the Twilight franchise, which really hit home with younger female viewers in particular, The Hunger Games seems to be continuing spreading its wings and its love across both men and women.
Yeah, because it's based on a really popular book that a lot of millions of people have read. I think that's a large part of it as well. It's just that people are so familiar with the property, and it's something that they actually know. It's not just something that they dismiss as, for just younger kids or younger girls.
All right, and we have some interesting interviews on our Wall Street Journal Off Duty YouTube channel, Off Duty. That's youtube.com/WSJ. Interesting interviews with some of the Hunger Games stars. Let's move on to the next movie, the American Pie franchise, Michelle. Now, this is a biggie. How did this reunion movie do?
It did okay. It didn't open as big as some of the other movies in the franchise, but it's been 9 years since the last movie came out.
And in terms of the cast that's there in this reunion movie, are they mostly the same faces we remember from the raunchy American Pies of past?
Yeah, it's actually the exact same cast. Like, they've been doing a lot of press going up to this movie, and a lot of people have kind of, done a check-in feature because it's basically the same people, some of which have become bigger stars than others.
And we also have a resurgence of the Titanic. This is the Leo DiCaprio movie with Kate Winslet. Obviously, that movie did quite well, both nationally and internationally when it first came out. They've released a 3D version. What was the take for that?
It was below $20 million, but it was, it didn't make as much as like other recent 3D re-releases, but I'm sure it'll do just fine because of all of the hoopla surrounding the 100th anniversary.
And people wondering why we have to hear that Celine Dion song again and again. Well, this is the 100th anniversary of the ship's sinking. That was April 15th, 1912. Moving on, we have Wrath of the Titans. Tell us about that film. How did it do this weekend?
Yeah, I mean, both the #4 and the #5 films are repeats from previous weeks. So it's just kind of filling out like the top 5 films, films that aren't the Hunger Games, basically.
And Mirror, Mirror, Hanging On. Now, this is a retelling of a Snow White fairy tale that rounds out the top 5. How has that been across different audiences? Men and women going to see this, or is this primarily a female movie?
It's more of a family film. It's rated PG, so it's more parents taking their kids to see it.
And there is a second movie coming out soon, I think Snow White, and is it The Huntsman that will be also around the same fairy tale, Michelle?
It's around the same fairy tale, but it's a completely different sort of movie, whereas this is very kind of whimsical and fun, and for little kids, that film is much more action-oriented in their battle sequences, and it's definitely going for an older audience.